Right, name, Le Mans 66. Did you see it? I did. One sentence summary. After Mr. Ferrari calls Mr. Ford fat, Jason Bourne recruits Batman to build a race car. Could you beat the villain? So there isn't really a villain in this film. There are bad dudes, but they're more of an annoyance than anything. It's more about the challenge. So could I beat the Le Mans 24 race or 24-hour race in my Ford Fiesta? Probably not. Not going to sugarcoat that one. Probably I couldn't do it. But there you go. How do you improve the film? So many sunglasses. I believe they were Ray-Bans. And they were in the film almost as much as the word Ferrari, which featured a lot because it was a story about Ferrari. Other product placements were less in your face. I did like how Christian Bale asked for a fizzy pop and he got a Coca-Cola. The label was facing the camera, but it's a nice trade-off. And there's also two scenes where you see beers being drunk. There is some presumably beers being drunk in another scene. But you only see the Budweiser label once in those two scenes, so that's pretty good as well. So Mr. Ford too, this time it's personal. He seems like a pretty shitty boss. Because he's obviously living in the shadow of his grandfather, Henry Ford, number one, the original, and his dad as well, Mr. Ford, don't know his other name. But yeah, he kind of threatens and bullies people, and that's not how you run a big company and you inspire people to be the best. So don't do that, dude. All my tools are locked up in the garage and I can't make a living for my family. Oh no. Dude, just break into the garage. The IRS aren't even going to notice until it's too late. Christian Bale's wife goes nuts when she thinks he's lying to her. And she starts speeding the car and like trying to freak him out. And she does freak him out, understandably so. And she needs to chill out. She needs to talk about these things like a reasonable adult, basically. But the question I have about that scene is, there's shopping bags in the back of the car. She's driving along. She's like, oh, where'd you go last night? He's like, oh, nowhere. And then she starts racing down the road on the wrong side and all that sort of stuff. But shopping bags in the back imply they've been food shopping. Later in the film, we see that the shop is directly across the road from the house. Like walking distance. So where were they going? Why had they gone to a shop far away from their house? You know? Doesn't make any sense. Anyways. I think there's a guy in this called Pops. I can't remember his actual name. But Pops gives some advice to Christian Bale's son. And he's all like, hey, people only die in car crashes and fires specifically when they can't get out of the car and they suffocate. Because the clothes they wear are fire retardant. Cool, Chekhov's gun. Later in the film, Christian Bale's car is having a bit of trouble with the door, and that same guy, Pops let's call him, hammers the door shut. And I'm like, oh shit, this is going to go badly. Good news is, Christian Bale is fine. That car does not explode and kill him. Another one does later in the film, but that Chekhov's gun was a bit like, oh, thank God. And then it gets him anyway. I was like, oh no, double twist. Anyways. The Ferrari driver in this film, like the main one at the end of the film, could have done with a bit of characterization. I know it wasn't really about him, he's just the guy driving the car, but he could have at least been rude to Christian Bale or something before the start of the race, so he was like, oh man, this guy's kind of shitty. I want Christian Bale to beat him in a race. How long was the Punisher, he's in this as well, how long was he at this business meeting with Mr. Ferrari so that the man who looked like Borat could take some pictures of him? So it looked like Ford and Ferrari are doing a deal. Then Borat, not actual him, but looks like Borat, goes to Mr. Fiat and he's like, oh look, these two are doing a deal. Do you want to jump in? Oh, he developed the pictures because it was in the olden days as well. Then he goes and delivers them and then, you know, he hands them back. And it just seemed like a very long-winded process. Why didn't they just say, look, here's the contract, have a read of it, we'll come back tomorrow? Because they must have been sitting in their room for hours. Why was only some of the Italian in this film subtitled? Don't know. Right, so if he wins the Daytona race, Ken races at Le Mans. What if he doesn't win? If he doesn't win, I'll sign over my company to you. That seems like a risk, dude. Just say, well, if he doesn't win, he doesn't have to race anymore. We stop arguing about this. Don't jeopardise your future. Have you ever noticed how people in films, when they've got like a medical condition they need to take some pills for, they just like whack the bottle back and take as many that fall out? Surely their doctor has prescribed a specific amount you should take. Just follow the instructions. Maybe the rumours are true. Maybe Carroll Shelby has lost his nerve. Number one, Carroll Shelby is Matt Damon's character's name. That's not a man's name. That's bad parenting. I know it's based on real people, but honestly, they should have called him Chris or something. Anyway, number two, he's got a heart condition. Don't be a dick. Why don't you just tell people you've got a heart condition? Christian Bale, his character is called Ken Miles, and he's a racing driver. Again, based on a real person, but it just kind of works out. But how weird would it have been if he went into like painting or sculpting or something? His name wouldn't have been appropriate at all. Why does Matt Damon... Why does Matt Damon turn up to the Le Mans race without a stopwatch? Like he steals two from the team next door, Ferrari. It's kind of a dick move. Not as big as a dick move as when he leaves a nut on the ground to make them worried that there's something wrong with their car. Honestly, there's no need to be poorly behaved like that. Strange. I recognise that wrench. No, you don't, kid. That just looks like all wrenches. Stop lying. Matt Damon's character is from Texas, I believe, from his hat. And he says the sentence, your dad thought you were finer than frog fur. That's a very weird sentence. Just say, your dad thought you was a cool guy, little kid. Anyway. So, at the end of the film, they're developing a prototype, new Ford, old Matt Damon, Christian Bale, and other people. And it's got a raised Ford logo, like the letters are spelled out and they're raised. That's just going to add to drag. And I don't want to say that's the reason that car crashed and killed Christian Bale, but probably the reason. Matt Damon. Matt Damon. I don't know why that's so funny. But Matt Damon does some narration at the start and the end of the film about hitting 7,000 RPM and, you know, your car becomes a machine that goes through space and time or something like that. And it just felt and sounded a lot like, because it's narration of him driving a car in the nice countryside. Felt a lot like a cologne advert or something like that. It was very odd. There you go. One man runs this company. The company's Ford, and Mr. Ford is talking. And you report directly to him. And Matt Damon's like, yes, sir. And off he goes to go do his thing. And then, like, the next time the Ford are mentioned, we find out that Mr. Ford has put the dick businessman man in charge of the project. So Matt Damon reports to him. So like that whole you report to one man thing lasted, let's say, a day. Bit strange. Rating out of 5 beers. I don't know if Christian Bale ever did Top Gear. Right, I don't know if Christian Bale ever did Top Gear, but I imagine the star in the reasonably priced car doing his lap around the track would have been similar to the bits where Ken was talking to himself as he's doing the races. I really enjoyed that. It was funny. Really good, like that. Also really like the score in this. The bit where he's doing his like lap, it's like really good. I might see if I can download it and obviously pay full price for it. So yeah, rating out of 5 beers. Give it a 1. Uno.